So, man, I want to chat about two things. First of all, are we co-coaching the next challenge?
I believe so. Yeah, I just had to wait for my football coaching schedule, but yes,
Ah,
I believe I should be good to go.
okay, cool. So excited for that. So those of you that are watching it, I'm coaching a 5-day challenge. Fingers crossed with Corey, 18th of September. That I'm super excited about. It's gonna be an hour a day all week, and we're super excited about that. But Corey, you're such a fast learner, man. You've come along this space so quick, so fast, accelerated so much. And so I just wanted to pick your brain for a minute on, so many people. One of the common things I hear right now in the co-living world is, that maybe it can't be done in really expensive markets. The same thing we're kind of hearing about anybody who's buying real estate, LA, San Francisco. And whenever I tell people about an expensive market, I usually bring your name up because you're doing this in one of the most expensive markets in the United States. Phoenix, you're launching in Phoenix, and then you're also overseeing 400 rooms in San Francisco. So tell us a little bit about just what lessons you've learned in that journey of managing these co-living buildings, but in super expensive markets.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with co-living is the cool thing about co-living is there's such a great opportunity in so many different areas. It doesn't have to be just buy a house, rent it out by a room, and you can, cash flow off that, which is basically you can do that in almost any market in America.
Right.
But with San Francisco especially, right? So everything is relative to the market, right? So if the market is expensive, if the housing prices are really expensive, then obviously the rental prices are expensive. Could we survive cash flowing in San Francisco charging $750 a room? No way.
No.
But you also can't live in a box for $750 in San Francisco. And no pun towards San Francisco, but a lot of people live in boxes there. But yeah, so it's really relative. So, a 1-bedroom, 1-bath in San Francisco is $2,600, right? $2,500. So if we could just be below that at, $1,600, $1,700 for a really nice co-living space, right? Where it's shared. And you do a great job with kitchen, you do a great job with the room, and you do a great job with the cleanliness. And of course people are willing, because in the market, if people want to be in an expensive market, it's because they have to be in an expensive market. So they still have to find housing. So if we can provide that affordable housing in a San Francisco, then great. Now, in regards to and we're right in the heart of San Francisco, Vibe Living, the company that I work for it is all the heart of, market, the Salesforce area, heart of it. So it's the most expensive. And then what's happening now is because San Francisco is expensive, we're branching out now into the Bay. So now we have over 43 rooms, I believe, in Oakland, and we're picking up, I think, 14 or 15 more.
Wow.
And those rents aren't much lower, right? So now you're in a different market. Oakland's not as, popular a market as San Francisco, but, it's a 15 to 20-minute BART ride, and you're still going to be able to get, cash flow on properties in Oakland. Here in Phoenix, there's so much opportunity here in Phoenix because there's so many different areas, right? It's not like Phoenix is this small downtown.
Right.
Phoenix is so broad, so you can get, and it's the same thing. People need living. Now, in certain areas of Phoenix, can you get $1,200 for a room? In downtown Phoenix, downtown, around the downtown area, probably not, but can you get $800? The average right now for a room would be $800. And then with a bed, an ensuite bed, you're looking at, somewhere around 12.
Right.
In a tougher area, is there still demand? Sure. Are you getting $850 a room? No. Can you get $650, $750? Is a 1-bedroom, 1-bath studio in Phoenix in a not so good area $1,000? Yeah, probably. Right. Is that expensive? Yeah. Could you do $650? Yeah, that would be, so the market is irrelevant. It's people need to afford housing, and co-living, no matter where it is a solution to that.
Why do you think, so give me the reasons in your experience, why is co-living working in so many markets? Even in the most expensive markets, I know you're saying, just help someone understand that might be listening to this, or after I post it, listening to it later, of because, even one of my bankers will regularly tell me, one of my bankers that loans on these properties will regularly be like, I don't understand, do people actually live this way? Do they live in a room versus the entire house? Just curious, from your perspective, why does it actually work?
Well, what I think is funny is if you've ever gone to college, you experienced co-living.
Right.
Right? If you've ever lived in a dorm. And I'm going to guess that probably most people that went to college, the greatest times of their lives happened while they were co-living, right? And so not much changes there. I mean, there's so many different reasons for co-living, and even for adults or young professionals. You know, the target market is typically young professionals, but there's so many people that are just looking for a community, right?
Right.
You know, in one of my properties, we have, you know, recently separated, you know, struggling with their marriage. She's recently separated. They're getting divorced. But she doesn't want to be all by herself, right? Like,
Right.
so she's in that community. You know, warehouse workers, students. You know, we got kids that graduate college are in that kind of transition. You know, they're getting their entry level job. They're making 45 grand a year, which isn't bad for a single person, but you can't afford a $1,500 like apartment. And if you do, you know, that's like almost half of your entire income. So, you know, there's so many different reasons: community, affordability, saving money, you know, and buying a house right now, especially with interest rates, it's really difficult. Cool thing is, for investors, which is what, you know, we like to focus on, and that's what the course is that we coach. There's so many opportunities for investors that the interest rates, if the numbers work, don't really matter.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to go buy a house right now and spend, you know, 8.5% on a loan, yeah, that's hard because that's my property and I'm paying that mortgage. But if I'm going to go find an investment property in an area that is where the prices might not be like Phoenix prices, but they might be a little bit better, like in North Carolina where we invest,
Right.
you know, and we can cash flow on that, paying an 8.5% interest rate, you know, then it doesn't matter. So, you know, in regards to investors, it's great. And investors, it's great. And for people who need it or who can't afford housing, you know, co-living is an awesome option for them.
So guys, Corey, for those of you who just joined, Corey's talking about all the reasons why co-living works, which is this room rental shared housing model. And he's basically saying, and I just want to reiterate this, man, because I think it's such a powerful point. So many people are complaining right now. Your interest rates are going up. It's so expensive to buy a house. Housing prices are so high. And even in the world that you and I play in a lot, obviously it's high for people trying to just find a house to live. That's annoying enough for people who need houses to live in. And then obviously for investors who want to buy houses and rent and create passive income, it's like, all the investors are complaining. But imagine what if interest rates didn't matter at all? That's what you're saying, Corey, is if we can find an asset class like co-living that actually does cash flow, then interest rates truly don't matter. And at the same time, something that actually helps people have affordable housing, like it's a true win-win. Man, what would you say are some of your biggest lessons? You know, you're overseeing well over 400 rooms now, and that's a unique experience for somebody to have in this space, right? There's the bigger companies. I saw E jump on. He's the Jacksonville account rep for Pad Split, so obviously they're growing really fast. But like, for you as an individual to oversee that many rooms, that's a unique experience. What do you think are some of the lessons that you've learned about co-living in your time being, you know, overseeing that many rooms?
I would have to say, you know, screening. A lot of people are afraid of tenants, right? Like bad tenants or trashing your property and things like that. I would say the lesson is you always have to screen your tenants really well. You want to toe that line between desperation, like, oh, I want to fill these because I want to cash flow, or between like, I want good people in there that will take care of my property, that will be a good part of the community, that will really help people stay longer. So it's like making sure that you don't get desperate and you don't compromise what you believe you want in your co-living spaces. If you want it clean, if you want it safe, if you want it affordable, and you want a good community, then really screen those tenants. And maybe it takes a little bit longer to fill, but they're going to stay filled a lot longer. And over time, historically, forever, rents always go up, right? In this kind of market, the prices aren't going down, and they're not probably going to. Interest rates eventually will, hopefully, but prices really won't. So to get in and get a good tenant, and then later on be able to maybe raise rents comfortably, that's so much more valuable than trying to get somebody in desperation. They might have a record. They might have something, you know, they might not have the income. Like really, that's tough for them, but they're just not the right fit. So you do have to be really, you do have to guard who you bring into your community really well. And I think we do that, you know, San Francisco really well. It's the lessons I learned in my own co-living houses. Right. I learned, and now it's very like, no, Like I'll keep it empty for another month or two, and I'll take the hit to get a really good tenant in there.
Yeah. Someone that's going to stay long term, be an asset to the community, refer other people. So well said. Well, man, the last question I really want to ask you, and then we'll just talk about this training that we're doing together coming up in September on co-living. But just, would you mind just telling your story of kind of maybe just a little bit of your background? We could have started with this, but we're switching it around. I'm going to finish with this. I just want people to get to know you who are watching this either now or watching it later. You know, just kind of how you got started. You know, you were doing the gyms thing. You kind of transitioned. Now you're all in on this, and I just want people to kind of be able to see that journey of yours and just tell that story, and then we'll tell them a little bit about the training. We're co-doing a training, which I'm excited about. So if anybody's interested in that, you can go to scaleyourrealestate.com and register for a training that Corey and I are doing together, a 5-day challenge. We're going to teach you and just do a deep dive into co-living. So excited for that. But I'd love for them to hear your story a little bit, man.
Yeah, long story short, I played college football, and then I moved out to California. I'm originally from New England. Moved out to California, and then got into fitness. It wasn't like hey, I love fitness. I just worked out all the time. I really didn't have a focus. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. Somebody's like, you should work at the gym. And I went, and I didn't realize personal trainers made pretty good money back then. So I was like, you know what, that makes sense. So I became a trainer. And it just was very easy. When I'm passionate about something, I can sell pretty easily. I've always been able to talk really well. So I got into fitness, not because it was like my passion, but because it just made sense. And then I was taught how to work hard. So, being blue collar, kind of lower middle class or middle class, like I just learned how to work hard. So, and then my mindset, being around different people, I got into the business sense. So I was like, I found out really early, I don't like working for other people. Just doesn't work for me. I don't know if I don't like the way they did things, or I just don't like, I was like, I could probably do that and probably do it better. So, I got into fitness, became a trainer, trained for a while, met my wife, and then got into kind of business, and then started my own boot camp back in 2009. By 2013, I was out in parks, running all over the place, working hard and really struggling. I knew I was a good trainer, but I was struggling. And then I just got a mentor. I invested for a mentor. I couldn't afford it. Wasn't even close. It was really nervous. I was sweating when I paid for it. I just knew I needed to be around that person and around those guys. And I joined that mastermind, and mastermind is just a group of people that are all doing the same thing. And my business went from, like 30 something grand that year. Most I had ever made to 88. And then every year we doubled for like the next 4 or 5 years until it was just like crazy. And we were on the forefront of the new boot camp type thing, right? I ended up owning a bunch of Fit Body boot camp franchises. So we were kind of at the beginning where boot camps were taking off, and, we took advantage of that market, and it was great. And I feel like we're doing the same thing here at co-living. But the gyms through COVID and all that, I realized like I worked really hard and I had successful gyms and I really hustled, but changing people's lives through fitness. And I know some of them are on here actually watching. I saw some people, it just didn't wake me up in the morning. Like, it was almost like I just expected that. I was like, yeah, of course you're going to change your life. You're here. You have no choice or I'll kill you. Right. It was kind of like that. But it became all consuming because it got really hard with business and some dumb business decisions. But then COVID, and we made it through, but I was just like burnt out. Right. And I had always wanted to do real estate, and my wife too. So we just decided, you know what, our kids are going to college, and 2 of our kids are going to college in Phoenix. Our house in LA was worth, double what we bought it for 5 years earlier. We're like, you know what, let's sell the house, move to Arizona and figure it out. And, I heard your podcast one night on a walk, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do in real estate. And I heard your podcast on Bigger Pockets. At least like episode 560 or something.
Yeah, episode 560.
And I had never heard of co-living, and I was just thinking about it. I was like, man, that is brilliant. This was a year and a half ago when the market was right at the high, and I knew it was coming down because we were selling our house. So I knew 3 weeks earlier my house would have gone for another 100,000, but now it's like another 50,000 less. And I was like, the market is going down, and this co-living thing. And I started following you, and I did the 5-day challenge, and I think it might've been your first or second one.
Yeah, I think second one. Yeah.
And here we are today. So yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
awesome, man.
And now we have, 2 properties. We have 18 doors. We just locked down our first co-living arbitrage client where we're going to manage their property. Joe and I both got real estate license. We're both realtors. and and now I'm coaching with you. So I'm all in on co-living, and it's been quite a year and a half, but I'm super excited. Yeah.
Dude, it's been awesome to see you take this space by storm. We'll wrap it up here, but I just want to say thanks for being on. Thanks for being a coach. You're in our community. You're in our inner circle, supporting, helping, coaching other people. So to see you learn it, apply it, and then complete the cycle of learning. I come from a martial arts background, so in martial arts, it's all about how quickly can you teach. How quickly can you teach? And someone's asking when the next 5-day challenge is. So we're doing, so guys, Corey and I are co-teaching a 5-day challenge. It's September 18th. It's an hour a day for 5 days in a row. It ends up being like 90 minutes a day, 90 minutes, 2 hours a day. And you got to go to scaleyourrealestate.com to register for that, www.scaleyourrealestate.com, and you can get on the waiting list for that next one and get signed up. It's a free challenge. There's some upgrades and things you can buy, but it's a free challenge ultimately if you just do the base level of it. So super excited to be coaching that with you, man. Thanks for sharing your story. Thanks for sharing your heart. And here's the truth, man. You're just getting started.
I'm excited. Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
That's the crazy part. Yeah, you got it, brother. Well, hey, thanks for chatting, and look forward to coaching with you soon, and seeing you even sooner.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
All right. See you, Corey.